I think you all are aware, the MLK program grew out of the practical application on this campus of the principles of nonviolent civil disobedience that were cornerstones in Dr. King's philosophy of social change and social reform, and the quest for, again, what he called the beloved community. And this, of course, came about in the wake of Dr. King's assassination in April of 1968. And the Black student organization on campus then, the Afro-American Action Committee, which I was a member of its executive committee, Dr. King was assassinated on a Friday, and it was over the national news, and over the course of that weekend, rebellions broke out across the country, and in more than 100 American cities. In that context, again, we met on the following Monday in a student offices in the union to decide what kind of response that we could make that would honor Dr. King and contribute something constructively to social change in the country. So the backdrop of the MLK program, is rooted in this broad series of issues that confronted students on this campus and campuses around the country back then.
Well, I kind of have a question how you got people together. Like, were there people who were just so discouraged that were like, this isn't going to happen, it's too much to ask for? And if so, how did you deal with convincing them? Because even now you get a lot of folk who are just like, nothing's going to change. It's as bad as it's going to stay like this forever. And how do you just convince those type of people?
If you're thinking about students, primarily, one of the things about the era was, on one level, there was tremendous optimism, I think, on the part of the young generation of students who came of age in the 1960s, all right? And the sense of the possibility of radical change in institutions of all kinds in the country. So the notion, in fact, that the university might be changed radically, all right, was a real prospect for us. So the notion that you actually had the power to change institutions that are not known, all right, for radical change, was, I think, was very much in the air. This is a photo of us having crossed the bridge from Morrill Hall, so we're now on the side of the Union. After the takeover is over and the administration is conceded. So that's Horace Huntley, Rosemary Freeman, Warren Tucker. You can see the top of my head.
From what Dr. Wright is describing, what was your experience like here as a student when you were here in the MLK program?
Well, so it was a long time ago. My back hurts. I was just here, right? I was here, didn't know what was happening. And being in the MLK program, they had, and I don't know if this is still the case, but they outline your first semester of courses for you, and you were with the same group of people for that first semester, cohort. Like a cohort, exactly. And you could veer off a little bit, but for the most part, you were with the same group. And I had the fortune of taking Dr. Sam Meyer's class over through the Humphrey. He had an undergraduate version of a social policy class. And that for me was like, oh, okay, I can make this massive institution smaller, right? And then the advising piece was significant because Stephanie Crismon was my advisor, and so having the mandatory meetings with her and helping me track how to get through was something that, I would have just been out here. As I'm listening to the history, I get excited, right? And I could listen to Dr. Wright all the time. But for the current students, how do y'all see what y'all are hearing resonating in your experience now? Either, positively or areas where it's like, wow, we're still dealing with the same thing.
Well, I think there's still a lot of work to be done on campus, but to hear the groundwork set was honestly inspiring, because we had just given a presentation. Val and I and Daisy had the privilege of presenting at the Overcoming Racism Conference, and we discussed some of the material that you were bringing up. So just address the first part we're very grateful for everything that you and all the students have done, because without that we would not be here. And like you had mentioned before, I'm in a similar situation. Without the MLK program, I don't think I would have been successful at the University of Minnesota. We still face a lot of issues when it comes to discrimination and homophobia and xenophobia when it comes to students who don't fit the status quo. So I think we still have a lot of work to do, but hearing some of that, it helps, because honestly, to see where you come from and how you organize students, I think it's very inspiring to leave that generation, or this generation, with different aspects of how the past can lead to the future.
I think it's also really interesting just because when I started working at the MLK program, there was just kind of a time where we weren't really doing anything. In my opinion, we were just an advising office. I don't really think we were implementing like social justice programs that really reached out to other students. But now, like, as I'm a junior and like I have new peers, like, and new advisors, like there's just such a passion and a humongous transition of just like social justice passion and implementation of these programs that really do draw in all types of students who have a passion for like changing things, especially on this campus and our community. For me personally, it's been really interesting seeing that transition and seeing like that growth and like that reamp of like, we have to do something about it.
So to kind of shift focus away from the history of the program, I have a question for you, Melanie, about the immersion experience. So I was able to go this last May with you to Chicago on the last immersion experience, and it was such an amazing experience. And I did notice it was your baby. You spent so much time and work on it, and it really paid off. So I mean, I just kind of want to know, when you created the first immersion experience and like kind of the idea, what did you have in mind, and where would you like to see the immersion experience going? So
our first immersion experience was social justice activism in communities of color. So we wanted to include specifically in communities of color, and that was all about who's out there doing the work in this local community, who's out there actually connecting the dots for youth and for women and for students of color and people of color in general in the community, so that once you learn these things, you already have a place to create application. You already have somewhere to be connected to create change right where you are, and also to inspire you to be a part of what's already happening on campus. And so this last year when we did social justice, look, I have to read this right. Speak truth to power, right? He has a shirt on. Speak truth to power, civil rights and social justice storytelling. We really wanted students to also understand, like, this isn't just, a circumstance, a situation that you're experiencing now. I think you mentioned that earlier, Daisy, like a little bit of tweaks here, but we're still seeing the same thing. But we know that the stories were important, and we knew that the experiences were going to be important for students, and for the namesake, right? Like, when I came here as an advisor, I had heard the history of what folks had been doing even back when you were a student here, and I was just like, yeah, but what else can we be doing?
Melanie's idea and what she wanted, that's exactly what I got out of it. So I have never been like the one to really like step out and like I could not like lead all of the protests and like be the name on everything. And so kind of in my like social justice experience, that's been very discouraging, because since that's all you hear about, that's all you think that there is. But going on this immersion experience and seeing like the teachers and the owners of the charter school, their whole purpose is to build a community, and that social justice starts at a smaller level, and like I want to be a part of that smaller level. And so it was really inspiring just knowing that there was a place for me in the movement, even if it isn't like in the traditional sense. So.
And I kind of want to let you know that I didn't just stop there. Like, over this past weekend at the conference, there was a participant who talked about storytelling as a form of activism, and we brought in the immersion experience, and we were telling her, like, this happens, like, it's possible. And just being able to pass that on, because you and everybody else gave us that opportunity, like, we're not letting it stop there, and it's continuous. So that's hopefully awesome. They do something with that, because it's proof that it can happen.
That's awesome.
As someone who came of age as a student in the 1960s, right, a half century ago, and think about this gathering with us here today as we contemplate the MLK program's 50th anniversary, as the Department of African American African Studies contemplates its 50th anniversary, as the College of Liberal Arts is contemplating and celebrating its 150th anniversary. Thinking about the future, I guess brings a number of things to mind. Part of my hope for the future is that young people now on these campuses and moving into their maturity will be able to apply all the wide array of resources and tools of communication, technology, etc., potential interconnectedness to make the processes of social change on this campus and elsewhere as effective as possible going forward.
In 50 years, I hope that we won't need the MLK program. And I don't want it to go away. But what I mean by that is I hope that we can get to a place where the MLK staff will work itself out of a job, because we'll be an institution that's inclusionary and that is made up of students, staff, faculty, administration that look very different from what they do now and think very different from how they do now.
In the future, what we need to do is better serve our students. We need to give them the experience that they deserve and that they need. We need to create more services for our students so that this really continues to be a home away from home, and be able to, give them real tools to be able to be sitting at the table here, 20, 30 years from now with new students. That's our future.
That's also the past.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about.
I guess for me, thinking about the future of MLK program, I'd really like to see more implementation of like scholarships, of programs, of internships, so we could really educate the students that are in our program so they can become active, educated, thriving students who can navigate this school and feel confident and know that when you say you're in the MLK program, it really means something. It's hard being a person of color here. It is. Back then, in the present, in the future, it probably still will be hard, but I want MLK to be that program that you don't mess with, that you don't question. Like, when you're part of it, you know that you're gonna get something out of it that you can take with you for the rest of your life, and it will really transform other people's lives. Like, I want my little 9-year-old sister to know that like I was part of the MLK program, and I want her to be part of it and know that she's gonna be okay.
Great.
That's awesome.